This is the Fearless Launching Show. I'm your host, Anne Samoilov. Today, we're talking about why you need to have some easy mode projects in the mix of your biz and how to make them happen. So, if you're ready to kind of take the pressure off a little bit, then keep listening. The Fearless Launching Show was created to answer the question, how can I launch my big idea to the world in the most simple, straightforward way possible and reach more of the right people? I'm your host, Anne Samoilov, and I've been helping 6- and 7-figure business owners launch for over a decade. And while I love geeking out about improving launches, new launch strategies, what's working, what's not working, I'm also obsessed with exploring the heart, the mind, the challenges of running your own business. And that's what we're going to do each and every week. I want to show you how to launch that course or coaching program or other creative work and navigate the journey of being an online entrepreneur. So if you're ready for some new perspectives, some new stories around launching, well, I can't wait to share those with you. Let's get into today's episode. Well, hey there. So today we're talking about something that I really love thinking about because I don't know about you, but we've got enough kind of heart. Sorry, I'm in my closet and I had to move a hanger from outside my face, right in front of my face. If you were to list out all the things you do in your business, all the tasks, all the projects, all the different type of client things that you might have to do, maybe you are a consultant, maybe you have multiple people that you kind of answer to in some way, we can they're going to be different things. Obviously, they're going to be different types of projects, different types of responsibilities, things you create, things other people create, people you have to meet with. And I want to know how many of them feel a tad heavy to you. And maybe they might feel even stressful just because there are a lot of pieces. And maybe there's a lot depending on these projects, for your company's revenue, or even if that is maybe your team's income and your team's personal paying their salaries. How many of them, though, feel easy, light, expansive, and literally just a joy to do, and actually, help with some of those things that can cause stress, like money and time and supporting our teams and things like that. Now, we can't only have easy things to do in our business. We can still do hard things and we can still love those things, right? But we can't only have just like super duper easy peasy things. I know someone's going to disagree with me. I know there are people who are taking the summer off and just doing 2 days a week. God love my coach, but I'm like, that's great. But I'm sure that even she has tasks, responsibilities, things that don't take a ton of her time, but do weigh on her a little bit. And I know we're all like that. So I don't want to focus on my coach because that's just one scenario. But you really can love the easy things and the more challenging things, right? And I feel like if we can build in more things into our work, into our companies, into our kind of revenue plan that feel easy, that have a high return on our limited investment in them and time spent in them and focus and just kind of shift the way we're working a little bit, that we will actually give ourselves the biggest gift, right? And build some more of that into our businesses. I've always made a point of having side projects that bring in revenue, ones that I either don't need to deliver myself or they're just showing me showing up and bringing value to someone else, and it's really easy. Those side things might take a chunk of time, but they don't require any extra worry from me there's no extra pressure because of these for some reason. Now, what I will say is that I've always been kind of like a side hustle kind of person, whether when I was working full time in animation and visual effects and TV and film, that whole land that I was in, I would always have something happening on the side, whether they were paid gigs or not. So I always loved that because it kind of takes the pressure off, even if it's not really generating things. It allows you to fill your brain with different information, and it actually kind of eases some of the pressure of that main thing. And I don't know if that's something that's unique to me, that I need to have that pressure released, but it's great. So then when I'm now as a business owner, I always love taking on side unexpected projects, working with people, helping them in different ways. And I even have, there's no listed for most of these side projects. It's not listed on a page, like of my services that I offer. Like for instance, clients who might need strategy and coaching because they're doing something they've never done before, but they already have an extremely successful business. And I'm like, why am I even doing this? I mean, they know everything. Those are the easy ones that are such a joy to work with, because not only do you get to share what you get to share, but you feel really respected, and like you feel really excited that someone would look to you for that advice, right? Clients who maybe need help during transitional periods. This is one that I recently realized happens a lot with me, that they need someone to come in for a specific reason. And the main kind of criteria, well, one of the main criteria is that they trust me having, they need someone that they trust. That's the first thing. And then there's got to be the skill level, of course, and they know you from some other situation. This has happened multiple times in the past 6 years. Maybe projects where I know the history so well that it's easy for me to just show up and do the work. I already have all of the onboarding done because I've just been involved in so long. Maybe even promoting products that I don't have to touch at all, but I know so well. Affiliate marketing is definitely one of those easy lift type of projects. So, that's kind of something else that I've been involved in over the years. Now, what these types of projects do for me, and what they can do for you too, is give my brain a rest while still using it. It's not like I'm just laying down watching Netflix or whatever. They allow me to kind of use my brain in a different way, so it gives the other part a rest. So I'm learning something new even that could actually help me in my core business. I often get inspired by the clients and say, oh wow, they're doing this and that led to that. Like, you learn so much, and learning is one of my strengths finder strengths, and it is something that I love because I love learning and applying. And also these projects can allow you, and because they allow me to earn income and revenue without stressing out about how I'm going to market it, right? Because as business owners, we're marketers. We have to market our business. We have to set up our launches. We have to manage our teams. We do so many things. Sometimes just having that kind of income that doesn't require us to figure everything out. We might help to figure that out with the person, but it's not all on us, right? And you might be thinking, well, Ann, is that just a job? Maybe, but it could just be a client who needs your expertise in a certain area, allows you to earn that income without having to market. Sometimes these things can happen if you are intentional about them in terms of, hey, I could help you with that. Like if you have, business colleagues and different people that you communicate with, this is what comes from knowing what they're going through, and knowing what people are dealing with and having relationships. You get to be like, oh, I could help you with that. And that can easily turn into one of these side projects. So the other reason these types of projects, they have such a huge benefit, and I've said this a few times now during this episode, is that they take the pressure off me and you, the pressure off me about or worry about money, sales, marketing, having everything dialed in, maybe management, all of that. It takes that pressure off, which in turn, honestly, like I said before, it gives me space to come up with better launch strategies, rethink my own projects, support my existing clients and students even better, right? It somehow breathes new life into what I'm doing. So it's not as simple as, well, I'm going to get a side job. It's not like that. Because if I wanted a side job, I could go to Barnes and Noble or Starbucks, because I also like their products. Anyways, so I have leaned on these types of projects and clients throughout my business, but especially when I was going through major life transitions that I've shared here even on the podcast, like moving. I mean, How many times have you heard me say that we moved? A lot. We moved from we were in California. We moved multiple times in Los Angeles. Then we moved to Seattle. We were there. We moved 3 times there. And then we moved back to LA. And now I'm in Florida. It's just insane, right? So moving, divorce, separation, becoming a single mom, health issues like during COVID and during times when we were sick here at my home. Those were great times where having these side projects really felt like such a gift, such a gift. It could have, they also, I've also leaned on them during seasons when I honestly just didn't want to deal. When I wanted to dial things back in my business, like the end of the school year or the summer or during holiday seasons or just seasons in my life where I just wanted a break, a rest. I wanted to feel a sense of like, you know what? I am willing to use my skills. I'm not being lazy. I just can't use that part of my brain right now. I am just too burnt out. Burnout has been on my mind just because a good friend of mine has been talking about it a lot on Instagram because burnout is real. I was developing another time I've leaned on these is when I was developing a new program or taking the time to fix systems in my own business, right? Something that we'll talk about next week is actually how I've created a project now for myself. It kind of relates to a few different clients that I have who are also doing this, but this is the summer of systems. So you'll be able to hear more about that whole process next week. Or another reason, another time that I've leaned on these types of projects and clients are when I wanted to reach a financial related goal. Like, for instance, and this is not something, I mean, this is something that I'm always on the lookout for. Like just because, and I realize that I've talked a lot about being in visual effects and animation and wanting to break out and all that. But you know what? It's still a very creative group of people. I still have that skill set. And I'm always like staying in touch with those people because if there's an opportunity to work on a film for 6 months or a TV show for a year, I'll do it because it still keeps me kind of like using my skills, learning more, getting better at the core kind of duty of managing details and understanding systems and being flexible about just jumping into things. So, I'm open to that only because I know that when those kinds of things could have help me make massive leaps mentally. So now it's your turn to think about how you can bring in easy mode projects, clients, or gigs. Number one, first, list out the projects currently happening in your business. Things you do every day, every week, what takes up your time? And what are things that you know you should be working on? What are things that you do sometimes, like launches? What are some promotions you've got running? Make sure you know what's currently happening in your business. And then I want you to know if they are ones that cause a fair amount of stress, thought, or even there's anything like pressure. They take a lot of time. There's a lot of stress. Maybe you're overwhelmed. You need some help with it, but it's because they depend on you in some way. Now, number two, list out any clients or other outside revenue sources that actually feel really easy and you love them because you literally just show up and serve. And those could be anything. Those could be things that you do that aren't even related to that core business. So even if you're a course creator, if you help a business out every Saturday by going through their books or whatever, and you just love that because you could just show up, go through the books, get all nerdy with the spreadsheets, like that is something to write down. So even if it's outside the core part of like the business projects you listed above, list out any other sources of revenue, income that you bring in and that you love that just make you so happy. The other thing I want you to do, number three, is list out any past easy mode things. Think, oh yeah, remember when I had that project? That was super easy. Or when I did that promotion, when I promoted that person and their thing, because it was just easy. They made everything easy for me. That really gave you the space to figure things out during tough seasons. So think about also, if you have a hard time figuring those out, go to tough seasons in your life where maybe you need a little bit more support and think, remember when I took that project and I didn't really want to take it because I felt bad about taking it, but then it ended up being such a gift. list out some of those things too, because that can give you some insights into where you focus on maybe finding these easy mode projects. Now, number 4, I want you to think about how you could bring in a few easy peasy mode projects back in and write out what that could allow you to do or experience. And this may come from you acknowledging when people came to you for things that aren't part of your core kind of stuff, but it also could be your core thing. Like someone comes to you for, for me, it might have been launch strategy, but really they just wanted business strategy. Like they wanted something more general. So those are things that I would just kind of brainstorm on that. And then finally, as always, I want to hear from you. Tell me about your favorite kind of side easy mode project that really gave you the space, that lessened the pressure in a period where you needed it to be lessened, and helped you diversify where your income comes from. Because that's the other side effect of having these easy mode projects or those easy mode offers or products, is that they diversify where your income comes from. So no one bucket has to be, so if one fails, you still got a few over here. So think in terms of that. And then I want to encourage you to head over to Instagram at Anne Samoilov and leave me a message. Let's chat about it. You can even leave me a voice memo. That's cool. Actually, I think you might have to text me first. Once I DM you back, then we can voice memo, which is super fun. So anyways, that's it for now. I will see you next week. Like I said, next week is all about systems, but it ain't going to be boring. And I'm going to walk you through the process, what I'm going to do, and how I'm spending basically the rest of June and July, what's going to be happening in the background. All right. I will talk to you later. Bye.